Okay, everybody. I have something really cool to tell you about. If you haven't heard yet about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain here. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one single place. Now, the way that you can do this is you got to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, and then you can get started. It's really fun. We just switched over recently here at All Too Real 2, and I'm enjoying it so far. So be sure to check it out and let us know what you think. Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me via social distancing on the interwebs is
Matthew Biden. No.
You changed your last name?
My name is no. Matthew Sanders, Matthew Harris, Matthew Yang. I'm in a polygamous relationship with all of them, so I'm married to each one of them. So I'm Kamala Harris's second husband, and I'm also married to Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden.
You're like their second wives.
Yeah. I see. I don't discriminate between age and gender or anything like that. So, I have to say that Kamala is probably my favorite spouse. Okay, we can't talk about this because of illegal issues, so I'm just going to say that's false. I don't want to say anything that's untrue about politicians. So.
I will not comment, so I can have plausible deniability to any of this.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
we can just scratch all of that. That was dumb. You could leave it in. I'm just saying, for the audience, you just scratch all of it.
Yes, audience, ignore that. I'm still gonna keep it in the audio, but ignore it.
You just ignore it. Don't even realize. I mean, you're listening now, so you've already heard it. So it's kind of ipso facto we're wasting time right now. But okay.
So build a time machine. Go back in time, and don't listen to that part.
Yes, and I actually have a PDF file on how to build a time machine if you want it to, and then you can do that. And
where can they contact you to get that information?
all2timetravel@gmail.com.
Okay. Now you're gonna have to actually create that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, today on the show we did another All Two interview. Or I should say I did, with John Lehr, who people may know from the TBS show 10 Items or Less. He did some movies with Noah Baumbach. He created another show called Quick Draw, which is on Hulu, which is a pretty funny Western show as well. And 10 Items or Less, in my opinion, is one of the greatest sitcoms ever. It's just funny, real feeling, it's improv and everything, so it felt real, Like
real, man, real,
like real humor, and not like real humor. Wait, what?
Yeah, like not like a laugh track at a joke that is objectively not funny at all, or like a reference to, like, let's say a comic book or a superhero TV show, and then that itself has laughter after it, like Superman, The Flash, Aquaman,
Transformers,
roaring laughter. What's that?
Transformers. Oh
yeah, that's a big one. That's you get a roaring laugh for that one. Transformers, Thundercats.
Yes, I was gonna say if you go Thundercats, then.
Oh yeah, Thundercats. You better run, because their roof is gonna just fall down, and
all you gotta do is like say Thundercats, Thundercats, ho, and then you're good, man. Yep. You're good.
Good to go.
Good to go. You become a Thundercat.
And then the check clears, and you got another cool $10 million or $20 million,
whatever it is. We should create a show like that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's easy money and easy to write, so
Yes. But anyway,
we're just gonna kill our own careers by just talking about this.
I don't know what you're talking about, so
let's just make enemies with the people that have access
to Hollywood. Yeah, no. We'll tell you. John Lehr also he hosts a podcast too that you should check out called Generation Gab with a B. So it's him and then a millennial stand-up comic who co-hosts that, and they talk about the differences of Generation X and millennials.
That's cool.
Yeah, sounds interesting. Be sure to check that out as well. Yeah, and if you haven't, 10 items or less, if you have not watched it, you can watch it for free on Crackle right now. All of it for free.
For free.
So why aren't you doing it?
Why aren't you?
Oh, wait, listen to this interview first, then go watch it. Or vice versa. Or go watch it right now, come back and listen to the interview. Either way, listen to the interview.
Yeah.
Because if you're just listening to the introduction with Matt and I mean, that's cool. But John Lehr took time out of his day to talk to us. So, listen to him. All right.
Do it.
So here's the interview right now. Me and John Lehr. So, how are you doing dealing with all the craziness in the world here today?
God. I don't know. You tell me. I mean, it's funny because the bar, I keep lowering the bar. So now, if I haven't killed anybody, then I'm doing all right. If I haven't killed anybody and I'm able to get showered, that's like a good day,
So, how old are your kids? You said you were taking your kid to get some vinyl earlier. So.
I have a 12-year-old son and I have a 14-year-old daughter, and that generally makes it pretty crazy.
Yeah,
just because. We're I don't know how things are out there, but they're all in school on computers, and so socially it's really hard on them. And
I bet. Yeah, I know how that is. I don't have any kids myself, but my sister has 7, and she's got a bunch of them. Some of them are in school, some of them are out of school doing home, and it's just craziness for her.
Oh God, that just sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. Oh, 7. Oh yeah. My God.
Yeah, one of them's grown up and has a kid of her own, luckily, but she's got the other 6 at home still. So it's.
Oh my God, yeah. That is just a nightmare.
Yeah. She's a better person than I am. So
yeah.
So So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in acting and everything in entertainment?
Okay. Well, I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in Kansas, in Kansas City, on the Kansas side, a suburb called Overland Park. My most of my family, though, came from a small town outside of Wichita, Kansas, called El Dorado, not El Dorado, El Dorado. And it was like it was an oil town for a while, and dried up, and so I was a class clown. I did some theater in here and there, and but I didn't really consider acting or drama a way to make a living. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that some people did it, but I didn't. I had no thought about that. My speech teacher in high school encouraged me to apply to Northwestern in Chicago, and outside of Chicago. So I did, and I got in, and that really changed things for me. Because then I was suddenly out of Kansas. I was outside of Chicago. I saw a big city, and Chicago is famous for improv, and Northwestern had a student produced improv show, and I auditioned for that. Somebody encouraged me to do it. I auditioned for it. I got in, and that really kind of changed my life, that you could, get up on stage and say whatever the hell you wanted. That was just like a mind blow for me, and I loved it. And I pursued that through school, and then in Chicago, the second city, and there was the whole burgeoning independent theater scene at that time in the late 80s, early 90s. That was really kind of awesome, and I was in the middle of all of that. John Cusack's company, he had a theater company. David Schwimmer had a theater company, and then I was involved in this kind of crazy improv company, and we all kind of shared equipment and cast members and dated each other and partied together. And anyway, it was just really awesome time to be young and in Chicago, but we weren't making any money. Nobody was making any money. Everybody was working during the day. I was substitute teaching. I went to Northwestern to be a teacher. I didn't even expect to end up really in theater. And then the theater company that I was in, it was called ED. It was this crazy group of people. And I was doing this show, and it was a hit show. We kind of had, we were like a flash in the pan thing, and it attracted some attention from Hollywood, and they sent out a talent scout to come see the show. And the particular show that was happening at that point was this 2-person show. It was me and another guy, and it was super fast improv, very just a sprint for 45 minutes. And it was a hit show. It was at the Organic Theater, and it was really awesome show. And this talent agent saw it, and she said, "Hey, would you guys like to come out to LA? We'll fly you out. We'll put you up, and you do the show for my bosses." And we were like, "Yeah, we'll do that." And so we came out to LA, and we did it, and it was like, we didn't realize it at the time, but like every executive in LA was there, and we did a great job, and we ended up signing with ICM, which is a huge agent, and we signed with 3 Arts, which is a huge management company, and we got a holding deal with the NBC. And basically that was my start, because then I the holding deal was like $15,000, which was like a lot of money. Still is a lot of money, but this was like 1993, 92, I think. And it was enough to support me, and I didn't have to work a side job for a little bit, and that was that. I mean, I went through all that money. I was on drugs at the time, so I put it all up my nose, basically. I've been sober now for about 24 years, but back then I was in the thick of it. So, but, even though I was out of control, it still gave me a little bit of a foothold, and that got me started.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was like the first like big break? Would you say, or big thing that you did?
Well, this wasn't a big break, but the first show we did was called it was called News Weasels, and it was on E Entertainment, the Kardashian channel. And it was a great idea. It was like these two guys, get to make fun of the news, basically.
Yeah.
But it was on E, and they kind of screwed up and weren't able to really get the rights to the news. So this was during the whole OJ thing, and we couldn't talk about it. So we were talking about, like this public domain footage that they got from Australia while the whole OJ trial and all of that was going on. So I don't know if that was a big break, but I don't know. It got me health insurance. I worked, on a show regularly, so I got to understand, how to deal with cameras and kind of how to do all of that, some of that stuff, So it definitely gave me my first sort of taste of all of that.
Yeah.
And then I guess I ended up getting a show called I ended up getting on Friends.
Yeah.
And did an episode of Friends, and the people who were producing Friends were producing another show called Jessie, starring Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
And I got cast on that and as a series regular. And that really, was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was able to and I got sober short after that, and kind of, I kind of realized that I could write. As an improviser, it was like in order to make a living, I had to break up improv into acting and writing, and so I realized I could write dialogue. So I sold a script to NBC. And so I was writing and acting. And then I guess the next big thing, little things. I hosted a show called I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I was the Geico caveman.
Yeah.
For all those commercials. And then I, along with my partner, Nancy Hauer, we sold a pitch to Sony that we ended up selling to TBS called 10 Items or Less, that ran for 3 seasons on TBS. And that kind of, was the kind of next level, I guess, of being able to write and produce and act in my own stuff, which is really what I really wanted to do,
Hello, I'm Tom.
And I'm Brian,
Hosts of Be Hero Fights.
home of the greatest debates of our time.
We tackle the tough topics such as
Fortnite versus Call of Duty.
McDonald's versus Burger King.
John Wick versus...
Wait, is that really fair?
Nevertheless, join us weekly on Spotify, Apple, Google, and pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts.
And hear the madness ensue.
And as always,
fight on.
Hey folks, this is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Matthew Haas.
We just wanted to tell you about our great podcast called Super. It's called All Too Real. And on that show, what do we do, Matt?
We watch biopics, and then we talk about whether or not the movie matched up with the real story or not.
So
it was a lot more exciting than that, though.
Yeah, so we analyze the real story and the real story.
Get it?
Get it?
Real.
Yeah, they're spelled differently, folks. You can guess which one I said which way.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, so sometimes we have a guest, sometimes we don't. But we talk about great movies like Shattered Glass and The Social Network and Futile and Stupid Gesture, among others. Those are some of the ones that we've covered so far, and we're going to cover a lot more. So please subscribe on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your great, fun podcasts. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Do it.
And make sure you're not afraid to get all too real. Bye-bye.
Yeah, 10 Items or Less is, in my opinion, one of the best sitcoms that's ever been on TV. It's great I work.
Oh, thank you. Well, is that then?
I work at a Walmart, so I kind of get the idea. That's what I do for paying bills. So I kind of the whole idea of a grocery store idea and everything. It's great. I mean, I think it kind of paved the way for something like Superstore that's out now and stuff like that. That kind of basically. And I love the fact that most of that was improv, right? Too.
Yeah, all of it. All of the dialogue was improv. We wrote scripts. We wrote really detailed scripts, but there was no dialogue in the script. So the scripts were just like, almost like short stories, really.
Yeah.
So we had these long scripts, and that was really just for the crew, and it was really for the executives. The actors never even really saw the scripts ever. They would just show up, get into costume, and then come down on the set. Now, I was in every scene, and I knew the script because I'd written it. And Nancy, my partner, wrote the script, and she directed. So we were able to kind of do the heavy lifting of like plot and all of that, but let the actors do, get access to that kind of comedy. This was before Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. Reno 911 had been around, but Reno, and we were fans of Reno, but Reno was really, they weren't like into having a super strong narrative, so we really wanted a stronger narrative. So, it was a blast. Those were fun times, man. Oh, yeah. We shot in a grocery store in the Valley, that was open for business while we shot.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of the extras in the background are real people just shopping at that store. So it was really fun. It was set in Ohio.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it was in Ohio. Yeah.
Did those customers know they were going to be on TV, or did they?
We put a sign up, on the door that says "by entering these premises," blah blah blah. But people in LA, I think, are so kind of jaded with shooting. They don't even pay attention. They just wanted to get their peanut butter. I mean, for all they knew, we were shooting a porn. People just don't care.
They're like, whatever's going on over there, we don't care. We just want to get our peanut butter or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, by season 3, the show kind of, was kind of had a following, and then people started coming. They found out where the store was, and they started coming to the store to, because they found out they could be in their show that they liked. So then it got that's when it started to get a little messy. But yeah, the first 2 seasons, we were just on our own out there,
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah,
it was cool because we would hang out with the crew, the real grocery crew and the fake grocery crew. We would all have lunch together, and we all knew each other, and we all became friends. So like me and the fake manager and the real manager, would it was funny because the cast people would come up to us because we're in uniform, so customers would come up to us and say, "Where's the ketchup?" And, we got tired of saying, "I don't know. I know I look like I work here. I don't really work here." And finally, we just started learning where the products were. And we'd say, "Oh, it's aisle 3 on the right," So it was weird. We kind of melded into one thing. We would put the real crew in shows, too. We would make them. None of them, they were all shy. They didn't want to do it, but we would force them and put them in stuff.
So, after that, what did you do next? Was that Quick Draw, or?
We did a show called Jailbait.
Oh, Jailbait! Oh, yeah.
For Crackle, which is still one of my favorites, just because it's so out there. But yeah, Crackle is owned by Sony, and Sony, produced 10 items. So they came to us and said, "Look, would you guys like to do just one series of 10 episodes, short 5 to 10 minute episodes?" And we were like, "Well, we've been thinking about doing this thing for in a jail, but I'm not sure you guys would want to do that." And they were like, "Yeah, we'll do it." And so, which was really cool. And so we did it for them, and it aired, but it was really dark. It's really dark. I have one. I don't think it's still on Crackle, but I've kind of snuck an episode up on my website at johnlehr.com.
Yeah.
So if you want to check it out, you can. Anybody who's listening can check it out.
That's cool. Yeah. I vaguely remember watching that when I first got into Crackle. So yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. And 10 items ends up. I think 10 items kind of bounces back and forth between Crackle and Hulu, and then Quick Draw, the series that we did after that, is on Hulu, and it's still on Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched an episode the other day because I hadn't seen it in a while, so watched the pilot. So
I'm getting ready to shoot some stuff, a new idea with Bob Clinton, who played Carl in 10 Items or Less, the stock boy, and he plays the what do you call it, the Undertaker in Quick Draw.
Yeah,
he's also in Jailbait. He's in everything we've done. So I just talked to him. I've got a cockamamie idea that I want to shoot. I was like, dude, will you do it? And he's like, hell yes.
He's hilarious.
So he's amazing.
His like deadpan and everything is just great.
He's so great, and the two of us love working together so much. So, So I think we'll have something new coming out soon with just the two of us.
That's cool. So I saw that you did some stuff with Noah Baumbach early on too. Did you? Were you friends with him, or did you?
Yeah. I did. I did 3 movies with him. I did Kicking and Screaming, which was his first movie.
Yeah.
And then I did Mr. Jealousy, which was his second movie. And then I did Highball, which is it's out there. You can find it. Noah did it under a pseudonym, so anyway, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Carlos Jacot is in it, and then he also directed me and Carlos Jacot in these shorts called Conrad and Butler, and I think there's 3 of them. One of them is Conrad and Butler Goes on Vacation. I think if you Google it or if you go on YouTube, you can find them.
That's cool. Yeah, I know I watched Kicking and Screaming in film school because we I'm a indie filmmaker myself, but so real low budget. But
hey,
it is what it is.
That's how it starts.
Yeah. So what kind of advice, if anything, would you give to anybody that's interested in getting into like comedy or acting or anything?
If you're thinking about television or film, I would start shooting right away. Mm-hmm. So that's my first thing. Just start shooting, and even try not to pigeonhole yourself, as a writer, or I'm just an actor, or I'm just a director. It's such a collaborative art form that the more about, different departments, different aspects of making it, the more you're better at the part that you like to do the most. So, by writing and producing, I never wanted to produce, I never thought of myself as a producer. I just produced because I wanted to act, and I wanted to, I realized nobody else was going to cast me if I didn't cast myself. So, but by being a producer, I become a much better actor because I know what producers need, and what they don't need, and what helps, and I understand the bigger picture and how I fit in, and how to set my ego aside, and just all of those things kind of cross-pollinate, and they just make you better. But yeah, the first thing I would say is, shoot, no matter how bad. You don't have to post it. If it sucks, don't post it. But come up with an idea and put it together, cut it, take it all the way through, and then move on to the next one. If you're performing live, same thing, man. Just get up on stage. You got to do it. It's terrifying to do stand up. Nobody wants to do stand up or improv on stage. Everybody's scared their first 5,000 times, but you're going to have to do it regardless. So start now, start young.
Yeah, it's got to start somewhere. I mean, otherwise it's just an idea.
Right. Yeah. It's just talk.
So,
do you have dreams that you want to achieve but are scared to do so due to self-doubt, fear, and other people's criticism? I have just what you need. You need a dose of the Living the Dream with Curveball podcast, where I interview guests that will motivate and inspire you to stop at nothing to achieve your dreams. And always remember, if you believe, you can achieve.
Hi, folks. This is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
manager Matthew Haas.
You got promoted?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay, anyways, folks, do you like the show Superstore?
Well,
I don't know. I asked the folks and nobody's answering me.
Because they're not here.
Oh,
but we love
damn
it.
Yeah, we love it, though. Okay, folks, if you like it as much as we do, you're really going to like the Super Story podcast, which is a podcast where Matthew and I go episode by episode and give our little opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Just depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And, so if you like this podcast and like our little crazy banter,
then you should definitely check this out. Or I might get sad. And when I get sad, it gets pretty sad.
yeah,
So
I can't deal with him when he's sad.
yeah, no one can really. So
Yeah. So check out Super Story Podcast right here where you get this podcast, Super Story Podcast.
it's besides the thing that you have, the idea that you got brewing, anything else coming up anytime soon or anything?
I just finished work on a film called Safer at Home. There was just an article in the Hollywood Reporter today about it,
nice.
Last night. And it's not going to come out for a while, but what made it an interesting story is that I think we were one of 2 comedies in all of Los Angeles that shot during COVID, and shot with the COVID protocols. And it was really weird, man. It was, we had to be tested every day and, reduced crew on the set and wear the masks all the time. And, people were like, well, how was it? And I was like, it's like you take something that's already really hard to do and multiply that by 100, it just makes it even harder. But we shot it, and there's only 2 people in the cast. It's me and another guy, and Joe Reitman, who's an amazing guy, who weirdly is also a Geico caveman.
Oh wow!
And so we shot the whole film, and I've seen a rough cut. I really like it, and it's kind of about COVID. Do you know who Harambe is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The ape and all the meme phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of about Harambe, and it's kind of about COVID.
Interesting combo.
So it's really weird, but it's good. I saw it. I really like it.
Awesome. I'll check that out. And anything else, like any kind of advice or anything, any good stories or anything you need to tell anybody before we go here or anything?
Let me see. Well, a good story. I was trying. People love the Geico caveman. The fact that I'm the Geico caveman, and one of the. I mean, it was this huge. For those people who don't know, it was this huge commercial campaign for Geico Insurance where I dressed up like a caveman, and there were 3 actors who did it, but I did probably most of them. I did like 25 of them. Okay,
oh, wow.
Which is a lot, and it became this phenomenon, and it became super popular. Like it was incredible. And I remember that I was invited to the Oscars as the Geico caveman. So they dressed me up like the caveman. They gave me this hot chick to be my this model to be my girlfriend, my so-called girlfriend. And we went to these high-end A-lister Oscar parties. I mean, like the top Oscar parties. And here's the weird thing. When I would go in, all of the actors, all the celebrities would go all fanboy over me. They were like pushing each other out of their way. John Voight literally pushed people out of the way to have a photo with me. And I have on my Facebook page, I have a picture of oh God, he played Buddy Holly in the movie.
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey, yeah, it's me and Gary Busey, and so I'm dressed up in the Geico, and it's Gary Busey. So I think that's like a pretty good.
That's good.
It's a pretty good insight to Hollywood and how nutball it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how big that caveman thing was. I remember, it was like every time you turn on the TV, it was on.
Oh my God, it was insane. It was insane. They did a TV show. I was in the pilot, but I couldn't do it as a regular because I was on 10 items. Thank God, because the show was not good at all.
I remember trying to watch that show. I made it like one episode, and that was it. Yeah. Yeah, because I think I'm like Nick Kroll was in it or something, or I remember.
Yes, Nick Kroll was in it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. You and the rest of America watched one episode and then turned it off.
So, all right. I don't know. I don't want to keep you too long here or anything. So, but yeah, thank you so much for your time. Well, we can do this again sometime too if you're ever interested.
Yeah. Let me know. Reach out, and it's been a pleasure, man. And and definitely, send me the link when you got it, and I'll share it out as well.
Yeah, thank you.
I do a podcast called Generation Gab, GAB. Okay. That maybe we'll reciprocate somehow. Get you on there, or do a simulcast or something.
Definitely, that'd be awesome. Yeah. So, and that's Generation Gab, in case anybody's interested in hearing it. Yeah. So,
GAB, like you're gabbing, you're talking. Yeah. It's me and a millennial comedian named Chase O'Donnell, and we talk about the similarities and differences between Gen X, rep by me, and millennials, repped by her.
Oh, nice. That sounds
it's like fun.
I'll have to check that out too.
It is.
Yeah, I listen to podcasts a lot, so I'll have to check that out. But thank you very much for your time, and I'll let you go so you can get back home or wherever you're going here. So
my son has been texting me while I'm talking to you. Like, Dad! Like, Jesus, man, I told you I was going to be on an interview. Just chill. But no.
All right, no problem. And you have a good evening here.
You too, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, that was my interview there with John Lehr. Be sure to check him out online. We'll have some links and stuff in the show notes for all of his information. I don't know why I'm talking like this, Matt.
I think it might be from the loopiness from being tired, perhaps, or the changing of the seasons, because now we're right in the middle of, well, not in the middle, but we're like a month into fall right now, so
seasons change. So do I. I don't know what this is. Let's have some pizza pie.
Oh, what?
Wow.
There's a time for change. You got to rearrange.
Okay.
Hi. I'm Mike.
And I am Matt.
Yes. And if you've forgotten, you're listening to All Too Real too. Yes, that was our interview anyways with John Lehr. That was very
insightful and informative. And we're going to hopefully have him on again, because we had to cut that interview kind of short. But hopefully he'll be on again soon, and we'll be able to talk to him more in depth about his career and life and everything.
And everything. Just remember, too, 10 items or less, free on Crackle and Generation Gab podcast.
Yes.
Do it. Check them out.
Check those out. Also, if you have Hulu, Quick Draws on there as well.
Yeah. So
yes,
there's no excuse. No excuse to not do it. No. Crackle's for free. Got an internet connection? There you go.
Yep. You should just be watching it all the time.
Yeah. Like right now, you should actually have it on as you're listening to this in the background. And then you can kind of zoom in and out between watching the show and then paying attention to the interview, or then going back to the interview and then having the show on background.
Yes.
So,
But that'll be fun. Anyways, thank you for listening, folks. This has been fun. Hasn't it, Matt?
Yes.
All right. Wear a mask. Check us out on Patreon. Check all of our links out. Because, you could help us out. Get some cool...
And all that jazz.
Get some cool merchandise and stuff, too. And all that jazz. And all
Get your merch.
that jazz. I need help, Matt. So if anybody out there can give me help of any kind,
I think we all do.
Please send me a message to mike@cullenpark.com.
Yeah.
With the subject line "help."
Help. Just in all caps with an exclamation mark.
Yes.
Help.
Alrighty. So until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.